Hello everyone and welcome to my podcast, Chaotically Ambitious. I'm your host, Chaotically-ambitious, and wow, it feels so good to finally say that. This podcast has been a dream of mine for over 2 years, and finally seeing this come to life and seeing me start this is just so surreal to me. I honestly can't believe it. I'm so excited to finally start posting, start creating the episodes I've always wanted, and just begin this journey with you all. So I want to start by, first of all, introducing myself to you. As you established, I'm Sarah Al-Kredis. I'm a 17-year-old high school senior studying at Bahran Ahliya schools. And in terms of podcasts, I've started to get into podcasting when I was around, I want to say, 14 years old, freshman year of high school maybe. I began listening to this podcast, Abajara, by Lubna Al-Khamis, one of my absolute inspirations. She's just so eloquent as she speaks, but that's just a topic for another time. Because if I start speaking about how much she inspires me, I probably won't ever stop. I started to get into podcasting at around that age. I'm a very passionate speaker. I love speaking to an audience. I love, sharing my thoughts and discussing, and interacting with other people. So I kind of enjoy that kind of thing. So, and I'm someone who's, it's just chaos in there, okay? In my mind, it's chaos. I think about so many things all at once. I have so many different ideas, so many different thoughts, interests all at once. I feel like, and if you know me, I've been interested in astronomy, in organic chemistry, political science, international relations, the whole 9 yards. I have so many different passions, so many, thoughts, I guess. So I decided to channel that all into one podcast, one medium, and born to you is my podcast, Chaotically Ambitious. So this is hence the name. I have so many different ambitions all at once. I've created Chaotically Ambitious. And I've wanted to create this podcast since I've started getting into podcasting. I said I was 14. It wasn't really until sophomore year of high school, maybe I was 15 at the time, probably, yeah, that I actually began becoming serious about this. And that's actually the first step I took into creating the podcast, is choosing the name. And I chose that in 2021, 2022. And look at where I'm releasing the podcast. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. I chose the name. I actually have Word documents on my laptop from dating back to 2 years ago, where I had topics I want to talk about, names, potential names, these kinds of things. I really wanted to start my own podcast at the time, but I never really took the leap. There wasn't really anything pushing me to, okay, I'm dreaming about this, but I never really thought that, okay, this is a step I should really take. Fast forward a couple of, junior year of high school, I kind of let go of the idea, especially because junior year was really tough on me. It was one of the hardest years of my life, academic wise. It was really stressful, so I kind of threw the idea aside. Never really thought about it again. Sure, it crossed my mind a couple of times, but I never really thought about it as thoroughly as I used to. Fast forward to senior year, current year, we started talking about what should we do for our senior projects. And I was talking with my mentor, the teacher who was guiding us through the process of choosing our topics and then helping us, develop the idea and everything. And we were saying, okay, what are you interested in? She was asking me, what am I interested in? What do I like? What are we thinking for my senior project, basically? And then she was like, wait a second, I don't want to toot my own horn, but she kind of told me I was a good public speaker, which is it's true, maybe in a sense, because, I speak at school events sometimes and, these kinds of things. So she's like, you like public speaking. You want to kind of venture into that? And I was like, this is when it clicked, this is the moment where, sitting down with each other, everything, fell into place. I was like, you know what? This is not a bad idea. Why? Because I have been thinking of creating a podcast for the longest time. This might be the push that I need to finally get this going. So I kind of this is me, shortening the story, and what actually, how it came about was we learned during the senior project classes, I want to say, that it needs to be, first of all, we have to create a research paper, and then we have to create a little product to give out to the community. My idea, instead of thinking about my research paper, I jumped into the community service. aspect. I was like, all right, my community service would be creating the podcast. Like, this is my community service. But what would I talk about? What would the service in itself be? I don't know. But I wanted to create a podcast because has been my dream, and I am not gonna like hold off anymore. I'm just gonna do it. Like, this is the push I need. So we kind of continued back and forth for a bit, and then I was like, hold on. I'm very into science. I like this kind of stuff. I'm very into astronomy. If you know me, you know I've been a big fan of astronomy. Like, not a fan of astronomy, like I've been interested in astronomy since forever, and that's a topic for another day. So yeah, I'm interested in so many different fields at once. Why not channel that into the podcast? I was like, this is the idea that I've been thinking about for a long time. I've named my potential podcast Chaotically Ambitious. Why not finally create this podcast? She was like, wait, you're onto something. Let's kind of continue discussing this, because since she was, really happy that I had a foundation, she didn't want to like stop me like, oh, let's look back at the research paper. No, she's like, since you have something, let's keep it going. So I was like, yeah, I'm interested in so many different things at once. Why not? And then something clicked. How can this be a community service? Here's how it can be a community service. Basically, I'm a senior in high school, and it's really tough, deciding when you're applying to colleges, especially, what you want to major in. Like, you try to think it down, like, I'm going to narrow down my interests. Like, what am I interested in? What am I see myself pursuing in the future? So I was like, this podcast could help upcoming seniors, or any student at all, basically, narrow down their interests and narrow down what they really like to talk about, discuss, study, these kinds of things. So I was like, that's it. I'm going to create a podcast, and it's going to be called Chaotically Ambitious. And it's going to be talking about all my different interests, different episodes, different interests, passions, these kinds of things. And it would be, first of all, a service to me, because it would help me, like, put down everything that I'm passionate about all in one medium. And it would help other people too, part of the community, to see what they're interested in, what they'd like to venture in, and, stuff like that. So she was like, this is perfect, awesome, we got the community service down, great. Let's now talk about the research paper. And then since I was passionate about something already, she was like, that's it. Since we have a passion going, we will find a way to fix our research paper. And we did. We found a topic, and I remember my research title was the effective student-led podcast on audience development on audience engagement and skill development. There we go. That's my title. That was my research paper. And then I researched on that, because what I'm creating is obviously a student-led podcast, and I want to see how, the audience engages with a student-led podcast, and how it can develop my skills as a student. So I've got that done, and I finished. It was last semester, and now I'm working on my product, which is the podcast. So this is kind of the origin story, my background, how I came about. So it isn't really my senior project, it is my senior project, but it's been an idea of mine. It's been my baby for 2 years, and I finally give this to the world. Give this baby to the world. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but yeah, it's been an interest of mine, and I finally can give it out to the world and share this passion of mine. And I'm really, really excited, because you don't understand how surreal this feels for me. Doing this, using this space as somewhat of a space to share, learn, grow, and just, I'm really, really excited, and I can't wait to share my first, official episode with you all. This is just a mere introduction. So yeah, it's kind of a rather long introduction, but it's okay. So anyways, obviously this podcast is as much yours as it is mine. So please, if you have any feedback, suggestions, comments, anything at all, please, you can leave them down in the comments below, or you can reach out to any of my socials. They're linked in the link tree and down below, or wherever you're seeing this. If it's on YouTube, it's in the description. Soundcloud, if you're listening, it's somewhere in my bio, I think. I really don't know, but you'll find it, and I promise. And if you would like to reach out to me about anything at all, episode ideas, guests you'd like to see, topics you'd like me to discuss, feel free. I'd be so happy to hear back from you all. And yeah, I probably the millionth time I've said this, but I'm so excited to start this with you all finally, and I really, really can't wait because I have a feeling that we're only going up from here, and it gets better and better every day. Thank you so much for listening and being here with me today, and I hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.